Hey everybody, welcome back to the third episode of Wolf and Jostar Talk with me, Wolf.
And me, Jostar.
And today we're talking Nintendo, mostly.
Nintendo episode.
Yeah, while we're talking, we're going to have Pokemon Tournament in the background for us, because I figured that it would be a little bit easier for us to talk if we're also doing something at the same time. So, what was the first thing that we wanted to talk about? Oh yes, first, the Pokemon Direct. If nobody had seen that from this weekend, it was absolutely terrible. It was about 30 minutes long, and what they showed was pretty much it was pretty much them showcasing different items, and then the only thing close to gameplay that they promised us was what they showed for the Sun and Moon announcement, and I don't think we're being
AKA bullshit.
Yeah. All right, let's just make sure we get this closer to us. I don't think we're being loud enough. But it was actually so bad that one guy that had streamed it and recorded it for his own channel was actually getting so many people yelling at him because he didn't show gameplay when he just put the title of what Nintendo had. So that was terrible for him.
The trust is gone.
Mm-hmm. But I mean, that's really all that was. We were going to talk more about it, but there isn't much more to talk about.
I don't know. Nintendo's starting the year off pretty rough.
Oh yeah, but they have had several good games such as Final Fantasy Fate, Fire Emblem Fates, not Final Fantasy. Well, another Final Fantasy game that they did do was Fire Fantasy Explorers. Let me just double check the list of today or this year. Dang it! Come on. I don't want upcoming or whatever. But they have had a lot of good games. And another game that I am really hoping for that's coming out in about a week from now, about 6 days to be exact, is Bravely Second. No,
That's not my attention.
The first Bravely Default I have heard a lot of people complaining about, just because
I loved it though.
Yeah, I mean, one person that I know that I've talked with in a little group chat is they don't like it because they started in the beginning and they don't like the cliches. Like, there's the farmer guy, and it even in the beginning it says that they thought that everything was gonna be normal, or so they thought. Like, they hated that part. They hated that there's an amnesiac character, and they also hated how there was a girl that was like, I'm trying to prove myself to my father. But I mean, I don't even know if they've continued playing the game, but even though that is pretty cliched, at the same time, if you play more into it, it gets a bit more in depth into the story and the characters themselves.
Honestly though, at this point, wouldn't anything be considered a cliche?
Very true.
If you make something that somebody likes.
Yes, but one thing, but from the
I mean, how many people like the never try?
Oh.
I mean, never give up type character?
That's very true. But one thing that I definitely have been from the demo, I have played at least. There's several interesting things going on, like from what I've seen in the trailer and in the demo. What you're going to be having in your party is you're going to have two returning members from the first game, and you're going to have two new members called Yew and Magnolia. Yew spelled Yew. And Yu is like a leader of another group of three cavaliers that you fight with in the demo. So the demo is about 6 hours long that it took me to fully complete it. So it's a bit of a short story in itself, because it's also like a prequel to the second game. And then Magnolia is the Ball Buster, BA''AL ball. It doesn't explain much about it, but like the final boss of the demo is a type of ball, and apparently she's like trying to find them, and how there's you had to rebuild Norande, I believe it was called in the first game, And this time you have to rebuild another hometown, but this time it's on the moon. Yeah, it's also Magnolia's hometown, so
How the fuck did you get here then?
I don't know. That's what we had to play the second game to find
Fucking
out.
aliens, man.
But there were reoccurring characters. DeRosa, the Red Mage, Praline, the Reformer, um, something Izumi, the Swordmaster. Those guys were in the demo. And then there was two new guys that they showed. One was Amy, which was this girl with a lisp, and she has the Hawkeye, the Hawkeye asterisk, which there's now guns in the game, and they're very powerful. And if you have
it's a gun.
Yeah, I mean, like in the demo, I just made my team have a full. What I did to complete every battle was brave 4 times and only do attacks with those guns for everybody, and I would always win in one round, even against most of the bosses, because the guns were so powerful. But
coming.
the Hawkeye asterisk, it has the passive of increasing your accuracy, and the abilities are called shamanisms, and didn't exactly go into much depth of what they did, but from what I did see, it looked a bit interesting because it's all about boosting your attack power. And then there's a second guy that they showed called Geist, who was pretty much a ghost, like he was in a bloodied lab coat, and has the Exorcist asterisk. And what the Exorcist does is they have abilities that are around reverting your HP, your MP, your BP, all back to what they were in the previous turn.
You know what I thought was cool?
What?
In the trailer when I saw the cat summoner.
Oh, the Catnomancer. They didn't show any.
Hilarious.
They didn't show anything about that in this, but there are definitely a lot of upcoming things. Oh, there's also a new one that they allowed you to try off right off the bat in the demo, which is the Wizard, which which only as the wizard what you can do is you can take different spells and also add a certain like prefix, and it'll do like it'll make a magic attack do physical damage, it'll make single targets do multi-target attacks, it does a whole bunch of different stuff. You can even have it so that your attack goes first in the turn, because in the turn-based battle it's you pick everybody instead of it goes by which person is next. So I'm very interested to see what all the combinations you can make in that game, because one of the funnest things about Bravely Default was getting everybody up, was maxing everyone's job class, and then finding out what was the most broken thing to do to win. My favorite thing to do was have a team of dual wielding Valkyries with a time mage ability, so that every turn that passes they gain 1 BP automatically. So instead of getting 1 BP per turn, you're getting 2. And then you would have them do a high jump, which would cost 3 BP, but would have them jump up for 2 turns. So then they would jump up with dual spears, attack an enemy, and then pretty much because their speed was high enough, they would immediately go back into the air because they also had enough BP because they've been storing it from that time mage thing. So
AKA broken.
Yes. Any thoughts?
Well, me, I enjoyed the first game. For me, though, my enjoyment came from an artistic standpoint.
Mm-hmm.
The way the world was drawn, the way the music blended with everything, the character designs, everything about the way the game presented itself visually, just it attracted me greatly. I loved every second of it. I loved just going into areas, going into a dungeon or something, like a cave, and just listening to the song there in like a stronghold. And I'm just like,
oh yeah, they had fantastic music for sure.
It was a really great game. So I was looking forward. I'm still looking forward to the second one.
Yeah, the one thing that I also love what they did in their games is what people are kind of saying is artificial difficulty, but it's still very interesting. What they did was they allowed you to choose to pick how often enemies would come by, and you could still pick a difficulty. So you can even choose if you wanted to gain money or job points or experience from a battle as well. So it not only made grinding a lot easier, it also made it so that getting to a boss would be a bit harder.
That sounds actually pretty awesome. I was like, I can see why most RPGs wouldn't do something like that.
Yeah, I mean, people were saying that it was an artificial difficulty, which it really wasn't because it was something that you chose on yourself. So
I guess what they mean by that is it didn't feel really like it could be difficult. That
and
might be what they were getting at.
that's fair enough. I'm kind of getting my ass destroyed in Pokemon. I'm not the one who
You're
owns it.
winning.
You're not supposed to know that. I'm really just button mashing
But you're
from what
losing now.
I didn't. I'm just button mashing from what I remember.
I want to go Synergy Burst.
Yeah.
And man, next up on Nintendo news, let's see what we got here. Well, there's Tokyo Mirage Sessions, which they keep refusing to actually say anything about. Um, what else is there? First of all, let me just get into Tokyo Mirage Sessions real quick. First of all, I'm really looking forward to that game in itself because I'm a big SMT fan.
Alright, I'm actually just going to pause this real quick to actually play back to see how well the recording is because I think that there's some interference with the TV, so we might have to restart, but without the volume of the TV. So 1 second, and we're back because that was just like half a second for you guys, but we were doing something weird was going on. I had to actually
Fix the mic.
and had to actually learn this software. All right, so bring it back towards
yeah, let's switch gears. We're gonna go talking about Nintendo and my expectations for their E3 presence. Now, when I say presence, I don't mean digital presentation. I want them to have a conference at E3. They absolutely need a conference at E3, actually. They need one. And the reason I say that they need a conference is because for the last 3 years, they haven't had a conference. And you've got something big that we've got to talk about. You've got to show off the Nintendo NX, next-gen console. And I don't think that advertising a next-gen console with a video is really going to be all that hype. I don't think it's going to be a good, accurate representation of what you're trying to show us. That's what I'm getting at. So I think that they need to have E3 presence. Just send on Reggie or something and let him, give out the presentation. We know Iwata's gone and all that, but we're here now. We're living in the now. We feel bad, yeah, but we've got to move forward. And Nintendo needs to make a big step by sending somebody to E3 to demonstrate and show us what we need to see. First of all, we need to see the NX. Then we need to see some Sun and Moon Pokemon gameplay. Definitely. And we need to see some Zelda U. That's a big kicker right there because they've been postponing showing us any real Zelda U since like forever, and we definitely need to see it because at this point we're under the impression that the NX is going to come out towards the end of this year, and if that happens, what are you gonna do? Because then what are you gonna do? You're gonna make people either buy an NX or buy Zelda Wii U, unless they pull a fast one on us and throw it on both consoles.
Very true.
Exactly. We already know they're going to port Smash 4 onto the NX. That's definitely going to happen. It's confirmed we're going to be getting Dragon Quest 11 on the NX. Now, another thing is I want to see from Nintendo at the E3 press conference is a confirmation that they'll have more stuff coming from Square Enix. Aside from just Bravely Default series, I want to see something about Final Fantasy. That's what I want to see. I heard a lot of people speculating that, we might see Cloud again, so we might see a Final Fantasy remake on the NX. Now, to me, I find that unlikely personally to see Final Fantasy VII Remake also on the NX. But that's because I don't know anything about the NX. But knowing how they said it was a PlayStation exclusive, I doubt it's going to be on the NX as well. However, I do not doubt that there might be the chance that we will get another Final Fantasy of some sort ported to the Wii U in the future or the NX in the future. That's what I'm looking forward to. Hell, I would be pretty happy if they had Dissidia put on the NX or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so there's that. The press conference, it absolutely needs to happen because last year that digital presentation was garbage. Not trying to fault you, Nintendo, but your digital presentation needs work if you're going to keep doing that. It's also something you can't just do year after year after year. It gets stale. And the fans, we need to see more. Like, we absolutely want to see your game. So show us more of your games. Show us your presence. I was like, I'm not sure if it's a money issue. We know before it had something to do with Iwata. But now at this point, they have no excuse to not have them there. To not have a press conference. That's absolutely necessary.
So they do have an excuse to not have Iwata.
Well, yeah, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Can I get around?
Yeah. You get 2 rounds because I just did 2. But yeah, for E3, I'm actually not exactly too sure of what I'm expecting because I honestly have not been too into E3 cover. I mean, I am interested to see what they show up, but I'm not interested in just like following it like mercilessly, just trying to figure out every little bit of E3, see every little thing. Like I will occasionally look at like highlights, but that's about as much as I'll go. But as for what I'm hoping to see, I'm not exactly sure what I'm hoping to see. I mean, I'm just one of those people that I'm not expecting to see a certain game or see them expecting to see expecting to see certain things shown. I just want to see what they're putting out, what they're already in development on.
Because looking at the lineup we got of games that are coming out 2016 from that recent direct that they had a while ago, I can see their entire lineup being a new game, a new set of games.
Oh, that will definitely be for sure because we have pretty much all the games that they've announced in their most recent Nintendo Direct that was showing all the different upcoming games. Those are all being released before E3. So when E3 comes around, they're definitely going to be showing something new.
Yeah, it's like, because like you just said, we've already got pretty much everything. We got Fates, we got Hyrule Warriors Legends, we got all of that jazz.
Yeah, I'm just gonna look up right now.
Yeah, we got Hyrule Warriors Legends, all that jazz. So it's just like, they don't really have too much coming out that'll be out after E3. So I'm thinking that if they do have a presentation, it's going to be a lot of brand new stuff we've never seen or thought was coming.
Yeah. Alright, so just taking a look of what we can expect in the next couple weeks. Other than End Layer, we will be having Gunvolt 2. I love the Azure Striker Gunvolt 2, which is fantastic. Oh, there's also going to be Dragon Quest 11 on the 3DS as well. Dragon Quest 8 Remix. Rhythm Heaven Mega Mix. Mario and Friends Amiibo Challenge. And there's also going to be the Sonic Boom sequel that nobody wants, Fire and Ice. Mario number 9 is possibly going to be getting delayed again.
Really?
Might as well call it delay number 9, which
Might
is
as well
how many it's going to go.
And just give us a Mega Man game.
Yeah. And then we got Metroid Prime Federation Force that
Ooh.
I mean, you hate that because you just don't, you want to follow Samus.
That's not why I hate it. At all, actually.
All right.
That's not even half of why I hate it. Metroid Prime Federation Force, first of all, it already looks like a disappointment. Graphically, it doesn't even look as good as Metroid Prime Hunters did on the regular DS. This is on the new DS. And
Right.
this new one is made for 3D models.
What was the other one that you said? Metroid Prime Forces? What?
Hunters.
Metroid Prime Hunters?
It's like this one is like a chibi Metroid.
Yeah. Alright. So you say this is for the 3DS?
That's for regular DS.
Regular DS.
That was regular DS when this game came out.
Mm-hmm.
The new one looks like chibi garbage.
Well, I think this is actually more. I think this is more like along the lines of a Monster Hunter game, because just from what I'm looking at, because it looks very similar to how a Monster Hunter game would kind of be set up, except it's in first person. Is it in first person or is it third person?
I have Federation Force?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's first person.
Alright, so it almost looks like a first person Monster Hunter from the Metroid series, but we could definitely do better, I can tell for sure.
But it's like a lot of people will say that people are mad just because it doesn't have sense. No, I'm mad because it's using the Metroid Prime name just for sales. It's playing with what people actually needed in a Metroid game. Because for one, Metroid Samus still needs us to play an origin story, in my opinion. I want to see how Samus became a well-renowned bounty hunter, where she started, and all this other goodness. That's what I want to see. I don't want to see me playing around with a bunch of useless pricks who don't actually do anything in the Metroid universe to begin with.
Definitely.
It was like, so yeah, my issue mostly stemmed from when I first saw the game. It didn't look up to par. Yeah, because when your DS game, your DS Lite game looks better than the one that's coming out on 3DS, we have an issue.
Yeah, I mean, even just looking at it, like the characters, the game doesn't even look like it's in a Metroid universe other than from the splash shots. Like
I've seen Pandrana drifts or something.
Like
that's about it.
Like I would almost, if you replace the characters to look more like a different colored Mega Man for each different character, then I would still think that would be a Mega Man game. I mean, it just looks very similar to that.
Exactly. Like, I don't even know what they were thinking. They were saying like, oh, this will be a new great experience for you guys. You'll love it. I'm like, no, it won't.
But I mean,
it really won't be, because at the end of the day, it's still just like you said, it'll be like a Monster Hunter game.
But to be fair, we still need to play the game first before we can actually make any decision, because this is only from what we're seeing. There could be a whole bunch more.
The problem sight is a lot of everything when it comes to art.
But at the same time, you don't.
That's the big thing. And I was like, I don't care if the gameplay is good.
You don't,
because the thing I'm worried about is the fact that it's not Metroid.
But you don't judge a book by its cover.
That's not judging the book by its cover.
Yeah,
that's judging the book by what it actually is.
You're not reading the book. You're just looking at what it is so far.
No, but you see, the thing is, like I said, I've already made my stand on why I don't like the game. First of all, in this day and age, we shouldn't have bad-looking games. Period. Especially with a name like Metroid Prime tagged on it. It shouldn't look the way it does. Period. Even if it plays good, what does that matter? It's still not the game we wanted. It's still not Metroid.
But we still don't know the story.
I don't care about the story for this game. I'm not even going to play it.
All right.
The game's going to be a waste of time. Most people aren't going to play it, honestly. It's just play with your friends title.
Yeah, it does seem to rely a lot on co-op. And
sort of like how that Triforce Heroes didn't do too well.
No, it did fantastic. What are you talking about?
I mean, like, I'm talking about press-wise.
Press-wise...
Nobody talks about it.
But it was still fantastic. It was one of the best games of the year.
And that says something, because a lot of games... What all came out that year?
Well, it was at the end of the year, but there were Stellar Glow, was definitely one game, but it was.
That didn't get a lot of press either, though.
Yeah, but it's still a fantastic game.
I guess it's because it was an eShop game.
No, it was. There's hard copies of it.
Oh, I didn't.
It's a full $40 game.
It was like I'm not gonna get into that because Metroid Prime Federation Force. I'm just not even gonna waste my time with something like that. That's an insult, in my opinion. Mostly artistic wise, they're not even taking advantage of the power of the new 3DS when they're making this game.
But I think that's been enough of that. The last 3DS game that's coming up, that's going to be really popular for sure, is Monster Hunter Generations.
Oh yeah,
also,
Monster Hunter X, right?
No, not Monster Hunter X. Monster Hunter X known in Japan. We have Generations here because we already have X, I believe. Or is it we have it X here and because we already have a Generations? It's one or the other. But
that's gonna be pretty sick.
Yeah,
it looked amazing. I said the same thing about the last one that came out. Was that 4?
Right? 4 Ultimate.
Yeah, but I actually didn't get a chance to play
you really should play a Monster Hunter game because I definitely think that you might enjoy it.
The one
somewhat.
I played, I didn't really care for. It was on the Wii.
Yeah, that one was terrible.
It was really boring.
Monster Hunter Tri was terrible, but the Tri Ultimate made everything better. It added a whole lot that made it a lot better, but
this one definitely looks like I'm actually gonna try and get this one.
Yeah, once you get your 3DS back, though.
I'm just gonna get a new one, like I said. Get a new 3DS.
That's what I meant. I didn't mean just get it back as in like someone took it or something, but.
And it was like I'm really excited about that. Another title though that I happen to be excited about is Shin Megami Tensei 4 Final, and that's just because I'm a Shin Megami Tensei nut.
Yeah, but we don't have a release date or at least an attempted release date.
I don't know anything about that game so far, except for the fact that Navarre is back, bitch ass nigga.
Yeah, that's all you've told me as well from it, but. But do you know if we're playing as Navarre or?
No. I heard that he possesses or becomes part of the main character. The main character is that other guy. I think he has green hair or black hair, and he wears green, and he's part of one of the hunter associations actually. So that's pretty interesting. When it's like me, when it comes to Nintendo, another thing that's coming out, whatchamacallit? What else is coming out? We heard news about Pokemon Go.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how that's going to be because I'm still a little on edge about Pokemon Go. And the reason that is though is because first of all, I don't want it to be region locked, but it's more than likely going to be. And it's like I can see the game being region locked. I don't know why. And by region locked, region locked isn't the correct term I'm looking for. The term I'm looking for is you might actually have to go around the world to find Pokemon. And that's going to be an issue for people who aren't rich, basically. And so far, from looking at the game, I was like, okay, I don't see any reason to play this game when I can just play a Pokemon game. And I was like, because it seems like you're going to have to just, like, buy a bunch of crap for this game. And it was like, I heard, you buy a Master Ball now because you can have a success rate of catching this thing. It doesn't look like you battle wild Pokemon. It looks like you see them and you just have a chance of catching them.
But is there any other now that's the 3DS, but let's go for the Wii U. I know one that you want to talk about, the Tokyo Mirage Illusion.
Yeah, Tokyo Mirage Sessions. Sharp
yes.
FE.
Yes.
AKA Shin Megami Tensei Cross Fire Emblem game. We had a lot of news about this game for years. I remember the disappointment that almost everybody in media had when they finally saw the game. And the fact that it looked like, Neo Japan J-pop music video Persona 4.
Yeah,
That's what everybody was saying about
it had
Weeaboo Baby.
for half the trailer. I could have sworn that it was going to be a dancing game.
And that, to be honest, same here. I was like, is this a rhythm game now instead of a RPG?
But then they showed some actual gameplay though.
I would have still bought it though. That's the sad part. I would have bought it even if it was a rhythm game just because I'm a fan.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is, everybody looked at this crossover and the first thing they wanted to see was, post-apocalyptic world with both the characters in it. And I'm sitting here like, I can see where that's coming from, but in the day, it's like you're basically saying you either want a game that puts Fire Emblem characters in a Shin Megami Tensei world or Shin Megami Tensei characters in a Fire Emblem world, aka in a world where they would be overpowered as shit in comparison to the other person, unless they totally either nerfed or buffed Shin Megami and Fire Emblem characters, respectively.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, me, I'm actually happy with the fact that they decided to make it their own game. I heard the gameplay, and from what I've seen from the gameplay so far, it looks amazing. It looks nifty. It looks neat. It's beautifully designed. The art is great. I heard it's going to have great music selections. I'm waiting to get my hands on the game to see what all the hub world music is going to sound like. I'm waiting to see that story. I'm waiting for a lot of things. Granted, I've seen a few cliches when it comes to the characters, of course. Like, apparently there's this blonde-haired dude with glasses, kind of chunky, who's basically a weeaboo. He walks around wearing a kigu. Literally. And it's hilarious. But I know people were complaining about him, even though I was just like, he's just a joke character, basically. Because you always have one of those. And it's like, but yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to this game. Because when I first saw the trailer for it, I was just excited for it. I was just like, oh man, we're finally getting Shin Megami Tensei and Fire Emblem put together. And I was just like, that's something I've been waiting for years. Once they showed the whole preview where they had the characters coming towards the screen.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, this is gonna be awesome, but how's it gonna work? And now that I see that they made their own game, and honestly, I'm happy about that. Of course, you already know a lot of people are going to be salty.
Gotta change something on that, sweetie.
A lot of people are going to be salty. What you looking for?
Reallocating stats.
Oh, okay.
Because we got a defense into Suicune, we don't want that.
Yeah. So I was just like, I'm super excited. I'm super excited. I know a lot of people are gonna be like, man, you Project Diva faggot and whatnot. Because like a lot of people are insane about that kind of thing. And a lot of people were really mad when they were looking at the game and they're like, oh, this is a Persona ripoff. And you know what else I hated? The fact that a lot of people will constantly come at me, or other people who are fans of the Persona series who also like Shin Megami Tensei, right? And they're just like, oh, why is it like Persona when Persona 5 is coming out? We want it to be like Shin Megami Tensei. I was like, but a Persona game is Shin Megami Tensei. It's a spin-off game, yes, but it's still SMT, so they should still be allowed to use that playstyle if they see it fit.
I mean, technically, there's not much difference other than Persona actually having like 3D battles.
Yeah, pretty much.
I mean, in Shin Megami Tensei 4, it was for a 3DS game. It was 2D. It was a 2D battle.
Yeah.
So they're just upgrading it pretty much. That's all they're doing.
And it's like a lot of people said they're like, oh, but Persona is not Shin Megami Tensei. I was like, shut the hell up.
It is.
When you look at Persona 4's game case, what does it say? Shin Megami Tensei Persona 4.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. And I was like, Shin Megami Tensei wouldn't be up there if it wasn't a Shin Megami title. That's just how it is. It's a Shimonari title. Leave it alone. There's no problem with it being like that. However, I can see why a lot of people are disappointed based solely off of what the first trailer showed in comparison to what they saw when it came to gameplay. When it came to gameplay, I could see why people were a little upset. They're just like, what is this upbeat, high color, heavy J-pop piece of shit that's on my screen? You know, that's what a lot of people saw. And I was just like, okay, I can see why you're slightly upset. However, this game is still going to be good, I assure you. Well, of course, I feel like a lot of people might not even give it a chance at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Judging how it is, I can see a lot of people not giving it a chance. So me, when it looks at sales numbers, I'm not seeing it selling a lot. In all honesty, I see it selling barely over here, but I'm definitely going to buy it myself because I've been waiting for this game.
And I will not be buying it because I do not have a Wii U, and nor do I plan on getting one at this point in time. Because there's just not enough games at this point. I mean, there's plenty of games that can be coming out, but like I got a PS3 because I knew there was at least 20 games that I wanted to play, and there's still more games that I'm playing on it that I didn't expect to play. But for the Wii U, I can barely count 10.
Yeah, I know how you feel. Me, I got a Wii U on my birthday actually, so I didn't actually have to buy it myself. But there's a few games on the Wii U that I was really cool with getting. Pokken Tournament, Super Smash Bros., Hyrule Warriors, Bayonetta 2. But aside from those games, Tokyo Mirage Sessions seems like the only game left for me to get for this system. And the reason I'm saying that is because, like I said, there's not enough games on there. But my biggest issue with Nintendo is one thing I really want them to fix. Put RPGs on your console. I cannot stress enough how salty I am about the fact that basically all these groundbreaking RPGs are only exclusive to the 3DS, and they're not giving any of them to the Wii U.
Well,
Wii U's getting no love for that.
But there's a reason for that because because consoles, a lot of people don't have enough time for RPGs on a console.
That's not true.
Yes, it is.
That's definitely not true. How many people play Final Fantasy on a console? A lot of people. A lot of people play Final Fantasy on a console. If you don't have time to be playing a console and putting hours into a console, you shouldn't have enough time to be wasting time on a handheld. You can play a handheld in your free time.
Here's the thing.
At home.
Wait, quiet. I'm trying to talk here.
I was talking first.
I was already talking and you interrupted me.
To be fair,
have a
voice.
To be fair, you interrupted me.
This is oppression.
And you're being rude.
This is oppression.
No,
I'm being Mexican.
Rude. You're being rude.
I'm allowed to talk.
You're allowed to talk, but you're not allowed to interrupt. We're not in front of people though. You're in front of me. We're in front of it. I'm a person. That's not people.
I'm Mexican. I can cut people off.
But the thing is that you're thinking of this these are RPGs from a different company. This is Nintendo. Nintendo is not meant for sitting home and playing a long ass game. That's not what Nintendo is. If you look at least 80% of their games, you can at least sit down and play any game in a 30-minute burst and be satisfied. You can't do that for an RPG. You need to develop a good amount of time into it.
But like I said, what you said earlier said that people don't have time for that. But the thing is, people do have time for that, or else RPGs on a console wouldn't be a thing at this point in time. People wouldn't be hype about Final Fantasy 15. People wouldn't be hype about a Final Fantasy 7 remake all being solely on consoles if people didn't have time to play consoles. Another thing that I'm saying is Xenoblade Chronicles X sold well, and after that game came out, a lot of people were like, we want more RPGs on our Wii U,
But
like Xenoblade Chronicles X.
here's the thing. Again, this is Nintendo. Nintendo already has a specific design standard. You're asking them to become.
No, we're just asking for a little bit more. We're asking for more than one.
Well,
the problem is Nintendo has one, and that's Xenoblade Chronicles X on the Wii U.
Because that was the only developer that wanted to make an RPG.
Yeah, I know that, but that's what we're getting at. The fans want more than one RPG.
Yeah, the fans want more than one RPG, but they don't have enough people to do more than one RPG.
I mean, at this point they could really make a Pokemon game for Wii U.
They could. But at the same time, it's all about things that we don't know. That's the biggest problem about wanting a game. It's because we don't know what they are capable of doing when it comes to money and such.
Well, we know that they could make Xenoblade Chronicles X. And then another thing
that wasn't them. That's technically a third-party game.
Yeah, I know, but I'm saying that's another reason I'm pretty excited about Tokyo Mirage Sessions. Because it's finally going to be that next RPG, big RPG, on the console.
Well, it's technically not big anymore because, as you said, a lot of people aren't going to be playing it because it's not what they want it to be.
Well, I mean, when I say big, I mean as in time consuming. I'm specifically talking.
We also don't know that.
Well, they from what the interviews have said, they've had over 20 plus hours on basic story and then over 200 hours on side stuff.
But how much will it be able to do in one playthrough? Are they talking about multiple playthroughs?
I don't know.
Exactly.
I mean,
that's the whole thing.
People only judge that type of thing based off of one playthrough. A lot of people don't play an RPG for a second time.
I played them for a second time.
And the problem with Xenoblade Chronicles X was there was no way to play it for a second time. There's no New Game Plus in Xenoblade Chronicles X. Well, and I'm not sure how that was with the first one.
Technically, all you have to do is sign up for Club Nintendo again. That's all you need to do.
Yeah, man, but it won't let you do the story again when you do that. Really? With your character, once you beat the story, you can't do it again. And that's a thing that some people had an issue with. And I can see why that would be an issue because at this point, I guess people expect a New Game Plus from RPGs in this new age of RPG gaming.
Well, it's not a new thing. It's been like people have wanted New Game Plus ever since Chrono Trigger.
Yeah, because it's just like when you start over, you want to be able to feel powerful when you're playing the game the next time. Granted, I guess Dark Souls is like the complete opposite of that.
Well, you still can feel powerful as long as you milk your current playthrough for all the souls you can get, and then in the next, like I'm still in my second playthrough. Like I barely touched it since I beat the game, but I mean I still felt powerful. It was just that all the enemies still deal a lot of damage, but I still felt powerful because I was being able to still do more damage than they could do to me. Like it takes about a team of 5 of them in order for them to do about the same amount of damage to me before I kill them all.
It's actually pretty sweet, though, to be honest. I like feeling powerful in RPGs, personally.
Oh, god damn it, I missed.
Now, like I said, though, with the whole RPG thing on the console, they still should do it because, for example, the Wii did really well. And the Wii did have a lot of RPGs on it. And one of them that did really well was the 2 Fire Emblem games that they had on Wii, Path of Radiance and Radiant Dawn. And people really loved those games. I mean, specifically, Ike is a thug.
Yeah, but at the same time, they were done in... The Fire Emblem games were done in bursts of missions.
Yeah, true. But at the end of the day, it's still there's nothing like an RPG on the Wii U as it stands aside from Xenoblade Chronicles X. And Xenoblade Chronicles X lacks a few things that I feel certain RPGs need in this new age, such as New Game Plus. And they also need to kind of balance the game in my opinion, because they've refused to do that so far. Because I don't like in an RPG with what they said would have been a PvP environment. I don't like the fact that there's an optimal build in the game. Saying that there's a certain set of skills that are better than other skills, making it to where picking a class in the game is pointless, aside from making the game longer. That's how I feel about Xenoblade Chronicles X. Picking a class in that game is only designed to make the game feel longer, because you're always going to end up going back to the starting class.
Yeah.
Because the other class you're not allowed to have more than 4 skill slots. But the first class in the game apparently gives you 5 skill slots, making it the best class to choose in the game. And of course, with that being the case, that means everybody you see online is using the exact same build as one another.
Yeah.
Like, when I was looking at people falling out, like, everybody's using a long sword. Why? And then I was like, oh, everybody's using this class. Everybody's got the exact same skills. It's long sword, dual guns. That's how it is. And they refuse to actually change that.
Yeah.
Plus, in this game, you cap off at level 60.
Right.
And the enemies go up to level 90 plus.
But that just means that you have to rely more on your abilities to plan.
Well, specifically in this game, what you're reliant on is either that specific build or grinding up to get a level 90 skill.
Yes.
And while I loved scales were really cool, I felt like they became too necessary. I would have preferred if they were optional, mostly, but they felt really necessary in order to progress throughout the game. Like, for example, if your scale couldn't fly, you couldn't even beat the game to begin with. Mind you, getting a scale it's a side quest.
Yeah.
That you can miss.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely not something that you want to have in an average RPG. If it's something that important.
Yeah, it's like, if you're going to make me have to need it for story, then give it to me during the story. That's how I felt about it.
But, I think that's a little bit enough of Xenoblade Chronicles X as well. Is there, what, is there anything else that we should talk about? Because honestly, I mean, it is a bit shorter. This episode is a bit shorter, but I feel like we've gotten enough to talk about.
Yeah, I agree.
Alright, so then I guess we'll just go ahead and leave off here. So if you enjoy this episode, feel free to subscribe to see more, like it, and share it to people to help help
us grow.
Yeah, help us grow. Definitely a bit of a community effort to help us out, since we aren't any big names at all. So this is Wolf.
And this is Jostar.
And we're signing out. Peace.
And getting bitches. Wait, did you cut me off already?